What's going on, everybody? This is Kerry Wood, Mr. Sports and Swag, for the Sports and Swag podcast. I am sportsandswag.com. I want to welcome you into another edition of the Sports and Swag podcast. And man, oh man, we're giving some good basketball to watch here in these NBA playoffs, the NBA Conference Finals, the Eastern Conference Finals to be exact, as the Boston Celtics came back and without their best player, without the little man Isaiah Thomas, and got it done in Cleveland against the great LeBron James, winning the game with that three-pointer in the final seconds by Avery Bradley. Man, what a game that was. What a comeback, coming back from 22 points down at one point and just ruling things in there in the land. The Cavaliers didn't defend the land tonight. LeBron James, 11 points. This comes a day after he reportedly was upset about not making the top 2 or 3 in the MVP ballots, in the MVP voting. He was upset that he finished 4th. I mean, look, I understand that LeBron James, he had the numbers, no question about that. And, definitely a guy that definitely would have been on the ballot, and it would have been in the top 3 or 4. But, when you look at the record, and all of that's taken into account when they vote for the MVP, the record of the team, not just how many points you score or whatever, but your placement in the standings. Of course, they placed second, which was, of course, good. But, look, this team underachieved. They won 51 games this season. And everyone knows that they should have at least won about 10 to 12 more games, probably. They should have unquestionably broken the 60-win mark. They didn't do it. But if he had done that, if the Cleveland Cavaliers had done that, then more than likely LeBron James would have finished in the top 3 of the balloting. But it wasn't to be. So, LeBron James, he gets upset about that, but I don't see where he has a case when you look at Russell Westbrook, the season that he had, James Harden, and then Kawhi Leonard. When you look at the records of those 3 teams, the Rockets, kind of overachieving. Oklahoma City Thunder overachieving. And then San Antonio Spurs winning above 60 games. And then you look at Cleveland winning 51, and there's the reason why LeBron James finishes 4th. No one with any sense, no one that knows basketball at all, is saying LeBron James is the 4th best player in this game. This just means he's the 4th best as far as his MVP vote counts this season. So anyway, I just thought that was real interesting yesterday. And then, of course, he comes out and kind of lays an egg there in the second half of this ball game tonight. I think it was kind of a point of the Cleveland Cavaliers kind of, maybe coming in, taking the Boston Celtics lightly in that second half. They went up by 20. Well, they were up by 10 at the half, but they quickly added to that lead in the second half, in the third quarter. And, man, Boston just went off. Big time performances from a lot of unlikely characters on that team. And look, it kind of gets like that with these Cleveland Cavaliers, and not just them. There are a lot of teams that we've seen do this over the years, and definitely here over this season, that take a team lightly and they come back and give up a huge lead like Cleveland did tonight. I don't think it's a big deal. to be honest with you, that they gave this lead up. In fact, I think it's a good thing for the Cavaliers. I think it's going to help them down the road, especially in the NBA Finals, which I, clearly, absolutely expect them to still be the opponent of the Golden State Warriors here in this couple of weeks or whatever. So, I think having a tight game, having a game where they needed to, use some in-game decision making there at the end of the game. All of that, just having the competition, just kind of getting back in the groove of things. You don't want your team to go through playoffs like that and then, winning games by 30, 40 points every night out, and then have to play a team that, that's equally talented or more talented, in some people's eyes, than the Golden State Warriors in the NBA Finals with everything on the line. You want your team to come in, tune in focus, and I think that's going to help them. This loss tonight is going to definitely come up as I think it's going to assist them in doing just that. But man, let's talk about these Celtics, man. Really a lot to talk about tonight. We want to talk about the Boston Celtics getting this victory. Marcus Smart, 27 points. 27 points with the man out of Oklahoma State. A lot of guys, a lot of people not really feeling the way he plays the game. I like the way he plays the game. I've always liked it since he's been in the league. He's a guy that I had on my fantasy team, and you may hear the word or the term stat stuffer. I would call Marcus Smart that type of guy. Marcus Smart is a guy that's, he's not going to score 27 points for you every night. Okay, you know that. But what he does, he's going to score a few points. He'll get 9 or 10 points for you. He'll get 4 or 5 or maybe 6 assists. You'll end up with 6, 7, 8 rebounds. He'll get 3 or 4 steals. That's the type of guy he is. He's a little bit very versatile. He's all over the place. He makes the most out of his opportunities usually. And his game tonight was unbelievable. Shooting the 3-ball, man, and getting a couple of huge fouls there while shooting the 3. Didn't shoot the free throws very well, but he shot them well enough. Other big time contributions for them to Jonas Jerebko. Man, Jonas Jerebko may have been the guy. Matter of fact, no, it's not may. He was the guy that changed the tone of this basketball game. Jerebko came off the bench, and let me just say this first before I get into that. Jerebko is a guy that I really thought that could make a difference in this series. We didn't see him much against Washington, but Jerebko is a guy that can come in. He's long. He can come in and make the perimeter shot as we saw it tonight. He's not, not a great defender, but he's just another body. He's another guy that you can bring in, and man, he changed the tone of that ball game when he got getting up there with I remember it was Kyrie Irving to J.R. Smith, man, and then kind of tangling up with him and really just kind of getting in everybody's face with the Cavaliers, telling Kevin Love he's not he's not the player everybody thinks he is, and just kind of really giving the boost to the Celtics that they've needed all series. And they needed something like that. They needed it from a guy that was an unlikely source, and Jonas Jerebko is that guy, no question. I mean, Isaiah Thomas being out, Marcus Smart took care of the scoring. 27 points. Avery Bradley had 20 points, including the 3 at the end to win the ball game, of course. But Jonas Jerebko, Rozier, making plays defensively. Kelly Olynyk had a nice game tonight. We look at, just across the board, the Boston Celtics got it done, man. I mean, you have got to absolutely give them all the credit in the world while I would definitely say the Cleveland definitely probably, kind of coasted in the second half. There's no question about that. But give Boston credit, man. They came in and did what they had to do with their best player injured in Cleveland. And, man, I could not be happier about that because we needed that. We as hardcore basketball fans, hardcore NBA fans, we needed something to watch, to get excited about in these playoffs, man. I'm tired of the blowouts. We're going to get on that as well. Like I said, we got a lot to talk about tonight. Kevin Durant, man, I ain't forgot about you. I ain't forgot about you, bro. We're going to get into Kevin Durant. But yeah, like I said, really great night of basketball there in Cleveland. And the Boston Celtics make it a 2-1 series advantage for the Cleveland Cavaliers. I mean, I think another thing that really changed the tone of that game as well was Boston defended a little bit better tonight. A lot better, keeping LeBron out of the lane as much as possible. Then, of course, a lot of that could have been LeBron not being aggressive tonight. Kind of relying on a jumper. Kevin Love was relying on a jumper because he hit about, I don't know how many threes he hit in the first half. I mean, like everything he put up was going in. So in a way, you can't blame him. But again, that's the thing that kind of happens to Cleveland and a lot of other teams, of course. When that three ball goes down, they kind of fall in love with it. Once that three ball stops falling, then they're not aggressive getting the ball to the hoop. And you can take advantage of that if you're a team like Boston tonight. I mean, you can take advantage of it. You can do what you need to do, and you can win a ball game like this. Do I expect this to happen in Game 4? I doubt it. I'm not going to say Boston can't win this game coming up in Game 4, but I would be shocked. If you look at this game, Game 3, coming off of 2 blowouts in Boston, you're traveling back to Cleveland for Game 3 tonight. You're looking at, Isaiah Thomas, the best player of the Celtics, being out for the rest of the series. It was a perfect storm for Cleveland to have a letdown. It was a perfect storm. This, it just made sense. And Boston took advantage. We didn't know if Boston could take advantage when they got it down to, I think it was like 5 or 6 or whatever at the end of the third quarter. It was like, okay, they've got the game down. They're in control of this basketball game, but can they finish it? And they did. Give them credit. Give them credit. Now, like I said, can they do this in Game 4? I don't know, man. I don't think you can count on Marcus Smart scoring 27 points. You probably can count on Avery Bradley getting around 20, but I don't know if you can count on Jonas Jerebko, as good as he was. I don't know if you can count on 10 points from Jerebko off the bench. On the flip side of that, I don't know if you can count on LeBron James only scoring 11 points. Matter of fact, I would bet some long money for that. I would bet you that he's not going to score 11 points in Game 4. I think you have to look at it like that and expect Cleveland to come back strong and do what they have to do. But at least there'll be a Game 5. Let's look at the bright side. Boston will get a Game 5, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're able to get that one and at least get it back to a Game 6, which would be fantastic if you're a Boston fan. Because, look, it's still a great time to be a Celtics fan. It is still a fantastic time to be a Celtics fan because you're in the Eastern Conference Finals, and you have the top pick in the NBA draft coming up. We haven't talked about that yet. The NBA draft is coming up here, and I don't know, man. There's one question I thought about tonight. With Boston winning this basketball game, Isaiah Thomas not being in the game, Boston getting it done, is that a negative or negative for Mr. Isaiah Thomas? I mean, I'm not saying Marcus Smart or Terry Rozier. Those guys are better than this guy, but Boston won a game without him. Does that make the Celtics' decision a little bit easier now? They've got a lot of decisions to make when you're Danny Ainge. I mean, this is a great position to be in, but you still got to play it the right way. Do you sign Isaiah Thomas, who could potentially call for $200 million plus in a new contract? Do you sign him back? If you don't sign him, do you go for a point guard with the number 1 pick? Do you go Markelle Fultz? Do you go? I don't think you go Lonzo Ball, but again, Markelle Fultz seems like the better option, because if you do keep Isaiah Thomas, there's a possibility you could play Markelle Fultz off the ball. He could be more the shooting guard. Do you do that? Should be interesting. It should be interesting. Me, myself, I think you have to think about possibly trading down, man. I think you have to think about trading that pick, because if you want to look at the real weakness, the real thing that sticks out like a sore thumb about the Boston Celtics is their rebounder. I mean, look, Tristan Thompson is a fantastic rebounder, don't get me wrong. Tristan Thompson has been, he is almost like you're talking about a man amongst boys. That is the epitome of it, what we're seeing in this series with Tristan Thompson, just killing them on the board. But we've seen this before. It doesn't have to be Tristan Thompson. It doesn't have to be a guy like that. We've seen the Boston Celtics get murdered on the glass all season. That is unquestionably their biggest weakness. Sure, they need another scorer, absolutely. But they almost lost this game tonight, a game that they could have had in hand, a game that they had to win, of course. But Tristan Thompson almost won this game for the Cleveland Cavaliers just on his rebounding. And that is a direct reflection, of course, how good a rebounder he is, but it's also a direct reflection on just how bad the Boston Celtics rebound the ball as well. So, there's not any guys up there that you would choose number 1 as a rebounder or a big guy inside, someone to man the paint. And it's not just rebounding, it's rim protection as well. We've seen the Celtics play defense against LeBron and the Cavs in this series. LeBron getting free reign to do whatever he wants. If he wants to drive it, he's gotten to the rim at ease until tonight. And that is not a good formula when you don't have rim protection. The Celtics, they have this, like the TNT guys, I think it was Kenny Smith with Barkley, whoever, talked about how they took nothing away from Cleveland. They took nothing away from LeBron James. You've got to pick your poison. If you're going to play these guys, if you're going to have any success, you've got to pick your poison. Usually the poison you want to pick is you want LeBron to shoot jumpers. Well, they weren't forcing him to do that. He pretty much got the ball wherever he wanted to. And once he did, everybody came to help. And they left the three-point shooters. They left Kevin Love. They left Kyle Korver. They left Kyrie Irving. They left J.R. Smith. And it just was not a good formula. They cleaned it up a little bit tonight, and they were able to win this game. But what about in the future? Because if you get past that line of defense out top, man, you get to the rim, there is no one. Al Horford's not going to block a shot. Every now and then, he might get lucky and block one. Kelly Olynyk's not going to block a shot. Boston Celtics have got to get that paint game straight. We all talk about their scoring. That paint game has got to get stronger. So we'll see what happens with that. The draft is going to be crazy. Lonzo Ball, the Lakers winning the number 2 spot. getting the number 2 pick. Of course, Lonzo Ball is pretty much claimed he's going to be a Laker. We'll see about that. What about the Lakers, man? What do they do? How do they play this thing? I mean, they just drafted D'Angelo Russell just a couple of years ago. I mean, do you kind of give up on that experiment? Do you sign Lonzo Ball? Do you draft Lonzo Ball? Maybe do you go somewhere else? To me, if it were my money, if it were my pick, if I'm going to get a guard, I'm getting De'Aaron Fox out of Kentucky. I mean, there's nothing against Lonzo Ball. I mean, the kid obviously has game. He's probably the better shooter of the 3 top point guards, in my view. Kind of crazy shot. I mean, the low trajectory that he has on that shot is, you have to wonder about that. You have to wonder about that. He's going up against bigger guards. You're not facing those guards in college, man. There's, that you can kind of do what you want to do them. I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting. The Lakers, or do they trade down? I mean, what do they do in free agency? Is Paul George on their radar? I don't know. Of course, Magic Johnson spoke on Sirius XM last week, and he spoke about the Lakers not really hitting free agency hard until after next season. I don't know. I mean, it is what it is. We'll see what happens with that. A lot of huge decisions for a lot of teams, man. And what those 2 picks are doing, what happens with those 2 picks is gonna unquestionably affect the rest of that draft. It could affect free agency. I don't know. If I'm the Lakers, man, I think I'm taking De'Aaron Fox. Like I said, to me, the guy out of Kentucky, point guard, another one of those Calipari point guards, man. The dude can get it done. He was no question to me. I mean, as good as Malik Monk was, as good as Adebayo and all those guys were on that Kentucky team, as good as they were, De'Aaron Fox was the best player on that ball club. Needs to work on that jumper a little bit, like a lot of point guards do at this point in their career. But he's good enough. I mean, you can leave him, but on the right team, De'Aaron Fox is going to be an instant upgrade to any team at point guard, man. The way he gets in the lane, the way he can get his own shot off, and the way he can set everyone else up is going to be, I think, spectacular. If they're able to get someone like a Paul George to go with him, man, the Lakers are going to make a strong leap forward. You can bet on it. Because the things D'Angelo Russell, his shortcomings, to me, De'Aaron Fox are very strong. D'Angelo Russell's just a little bit better shooter at this point. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. And De'Aaron Fox schooled Lonzo Ball in the Sweet 16 this past season. Schooled him. So, is that a precursor for what's going to happen once they get to the next level? Could be. I think it is. I think De'Aaron Fox, to me, and I must admit, I haven't seen a lot of Markelle Fultz. He played at the University of Washington. They didn't make the tournament. They didn't get close to making the tournament. Didn't see him much this season. Very good guy, very good point guard. For my money, man, I'm going De'Aaron Fox. We'll see what happens, though. It's going to be very interesting. I'm interested in, on down the line, and guys like, Jason Tatum's a guy that I look at from Duke. A Kevin Durant type guy, long, can shoot the basketball from the perimeter very well, can handle the ball a little bit. Those guys, I don't hear much talk about him, man, but I think this guy's going to be a stud. I look at a lot of guys. This is going to be one of those deep drafts that, I don't know, man, it could be, a lot of teams could really make their mark and really improve themselves. So, yeah, we're going to talk a lot more about the draft. We're still probably about a month away or so, definitely after the finals, of course. Yeah, I can't wait to see how this thing unfolds. I just cannot wait. See if these teams can get better. See who can challenge these Golden State Warriors. See who can challenge the Cleveland Cavaliers. Anyway, speaking of the Golden State Warriors, let's talk about Kevin Durant. Let's talk about Mr. KD. In the post-game interview, the post-game press conference last night, he was asked a question about the fans not liking the blowouts that we're seeing here in these playoffs, especially here in the conference finals. His reaction was, if you don't like it, don't watch it. Really? If you don't like it, don't watch it. Okay, that's what you're going to say to all these people that, your fans there in Oklahoma City that, I'm sorry. Well, fans in Oklahoma City that came to see you play for these several seasons that you've been in the league. And now, of course, those fans that come to see you play in Oakland. You're going to tell them, if you don't want to watch it, don't watch it. If you don't like it, don't watch it. Look, let me say this. Let me say this right here. To me, it was a terrible question by the reporter. I mean, why would you ask Kevin Durant that question? I don't, that's the thing to me that I don't get probably the most out of this whole thing, because in all actuality, I mean, if you want to be real about this thing, Kevin Durant is right. I mean, if we don't like it, don't watch it. He's absolutely correct. There's nothing wrong in what he said, at least as far as the message, exactly the words. What's wrong is the message. It's a bad look, man. I mean, I've seen people, defending him today, and that's fine. Now, look, like I said, he probably didn't mean it, because he probably didn't mean to say it that way. Maybe he meant to say it that way, but I don't think he really meant to alienate any fans or anything like that. I think he adores the fans just like most NBA players do, and they thank them for the jersey sales, the ticket sales, the watching on NBA League Pass and on TV and all of that. I mean, I know Kevin Durant doesn't feel that way, so he probably kind of answered a stupid question with a stupid answer. I think that's basically what you have here. I mean, the reporter asking him that question about, how do you feel about the fans, their reaction to these blowouts? I don't know, man. I don't get that one, because I mean, what is Kevin Durant supposed to do? I mean, just because Kawhi Leonard, Tony Parker, and now David Lee, and oh man, it's got to be. I mean, it's a long list. It's kind of like a MASH unit right now in San Antonio. What is he supposed to apologize for beating San Antonio by 30 points the other night? He's supposed to apologize for them dominating that second half of the game last night. So why are you asking him a stupid question? I mean, he gave him a stupid answer. That's basically what happened. He gave them a stupid answer. While, like I said, I think he's absolutely correct and saying what in the words, the message looks bad, man. It looks bad. He could have handled that in a lot of different ways. I think if he had handled it maybe like LeBron has handled some of the questions he's had this season, I think it would have gone over a lot better, for me anyway. Maybe I'm in the minority. I don't know. Maybe I'm in the minority, because even though that reporter is the guy that asked the question, when he answers that, when Kevin Durant answers that question, he's speaking to all the fans. I mean, that's what those press conferences are for. They're for the media, yeah, but they're also for the fans, because guess what? We see them now. Maybe back in the day, back in the 70s and 80s or whatever, maybe we didn't see them live like that, but we see them now. We see every word they say. And of course, Kevin Durant knows that. So, again, I'm not bashing Durant for what he said. Like I said, the words he came out with are correct. The message is wrong, man. It's a bad look for Kevin Durant. And that's the way I feel about it. Anyway, like I said, a lot to get to. We're at the 30-minute mark, actually 31-minute mark of this podcast, of this edition. I could go on and on. Haven't even talked about Golden State, San Antonio. I mean, what is there to say about that series? And Spurs, just, man, I mean, losing Kawhi Leonard, him not being able to play in game 2 or 3, especially after game 1 when they dominated for the first, 25 minutes of that game. Maybe like 30 minutes of that game. For him not to be able to come back and finish the series, it is terrible. Terrible if you're a Spurs fan. Terrible if you're just an NBA fan that wants to see good action. Excuse me, just wants to see the best players on the court. So, I don't know. Hopefully San Antonio can win a game. I don't really see it now, to be honest with you. I think Golden State's going to win this thing in 4 games. But, yeah. This is not a good season for the playoffs, man. This has been the worst playoffs that I can ever remember. And hopefully we're going to get this out of our system. Hopefully this draft is going to be huge for a lot of teams that make themselves better, where they'll be able to challenge these 2 teams that are on a collision path for their 3rd consecutive finals meeting. Let's hope we get something different next year, man. I mean, I'm all for the dynasties. It's good to have, sports need those teams that stand out, that dominate to a certain degree, but not to this degree, man. Not where we have 3 consecutive meetings of the same 2 teams. I just don't think it's good for the game. It's just my opinion. So hopefully we're going to get, some of these teams are going to get better in a hurry and start giving some competition. Anyway. Looking forward to all of that, man. Looking forward to these next couple of games. No matter what happens, looking forward to the NBA Finals starting here in about a week and a half or 2. And we're going to look forward again to the NBA Draft. Again, I'm Kerry Wood, Mr. Sports and Swag. Like our page on Facebook. Very simple, Sports and Swag. Check us out on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter. That is at Sports and Swag. Very simple. And I have my personal Twitter. That is at Mr. Sports and Swag. That is MR_Sports and Swag. Follow us on Google+. Follow us on Instagram. Check us out. Of course, if you haven't been to the website, sportsandswag.com, please drop by there. Put your email in there. Subscribe to the website so you get notification when we put out new content. And again, of course, meet us back here on Spreaker.com. A lot of podcasts coming up. We'll be back later this week. We're going to have some more stuff lately it's been all NBA, but we're gonna shift gears into get some college football, some NFL, dabble around a little bit, man. Anyway, enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed me. Until the next time, here on the Sports and Swag podcast, I'm Kerry Wood and I'm out.